Hey guys, Pascal Neko here and welcome to a brand new video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be reading Overwatch fanfiction. So, in other words, we're disappointing my parents, your grandparents, your grandparents, grandparents, and so on. Hands slowly reached out and rested upon your shoulders. Your body had been shivering from anxiety for the past few minutes, but it was now steadied by Hanzo's touch. It was amazing to you, really, and rather comforting. For a man with such great strength, he could make his hands feel as light as two doves resting upon you. He could do likewise with his voice. For as naturally and robust as he typically sounded, the man could speak to you in a low, soothing tone that flowed from his lips like a fine wine, and his tone spoke your name. His deep gaze falling upon your face, searching your eyes as if beckoning to connect with you. Accordingly, you returned his gaze. How could you not, especially when he had those eyes that never ceased to bewitch you? So serious, but so compassionate. Dream boy. Okay, next paragraph. Is this truly what you want? Hanzo asked with his, I thought that said something else. With his thick thumbs drew firm circles around your shoulders. The rest of his fingers already tucked themselves beneath the edges of your silk robe. Oh, you getting laid, boy. Scroll down and find something a little bit juicy. I've never done this before, you murmured. Hanzo let out a hum. I see. He gave you an accepting nod. Then this makes two of us. Oh, he's a virgin. You slightly cocked your brows. Rude words. You slightly cocked your brows. How surprising. After all these years traveling the world like a lonely wolf, Hanzo had never laid with anybody? Not during his days. That makes no sense. Not even during his days as the heir to his clan's underground empire. I didn't even know that was part of his law, but okay. But how? Were the tiny words that slipped from your mouth. Hanzo's gaze was softening. I've never had time for such affairs, he replied, nor did I ever focus on women. He focused on men, that is McHanzo, whatever it is, confirmed. You were slightly puzzled. You knew very well that Hanzo loved you in return, but if romance interfered with his goals, then why did he choose to be with you in the first place? What made you stand out from all the other girls in the world? Well, what about now? You asked your lover. Would you call this an unnecessary pleasure? My words just stuffed up so bad. The man paused. You felt a spark of anxiety until you noticed the faint smirk growing upon his lips. Not at all, he breathed. He let out a light chuckle. You could feel his thumbs deeply tracing your collarbones. So inquisitive, he commented. You are a smart one. You may not realize it, but I think you know the answer deep down. I still will tell you. With a charming look, he brought his face down a little closer. I'm not used to reading this shit. Just so his eyes could better connect with yours. Once again, you could feel your skin growing hotter. Hanzo didn't smile very often, but when he did, it was like watching cherry blossom trees in bloom. A rare, eventful beauty to behold and savor. When he continued, his voice descended to a whisper. To me, he said, this is an inappropriate expression of my love to you and my gratitude. I can just imagine it like a really bad whisper like that, too. Your gratitude? You whispered back. He nodded. For everything you have done for me. He was leaning in further, as well as your face were close enough to his that you could feel his warm air caress your cheeks whenever he released a breath. For many years, I have been searching the world to become a best form of myself, he explained, frowning again. Oh, I don't think he's whispering anymore. But in truth, ever since leaving my home and losing my family, I have never felt so out of place in my life. Setting a purpose for myself was one thing, but my greatest fear was for my loneliness, and I was afraid I would never do it again, never find any place to call home or any family to call family, a friend or an ally. I thought myself I had left my clan, Sensing the silent Sensing the silent taint of insecurity in Hanzo's voice, your gaze shifted a little lower with sympathy, or a little lower for something else. Oh. And then I found you. Yes, no? There's a little Y/N. I don't know what that means. You're lifted your sight. You're lifted your sight. It says it. It says it. His gentle smile returned. You who never feared me. You who showed me the utmost kindness and respect. You who offered me companionship and treated me like you had known me for years. It is because of you that I have learnt to let go of my fear. You are proof that, in truth, I have more allies in this world than I realize. Now I see that I will not be alone in this journey, and perhaps, by the end of my journey, I will not only gain honor and redemption, but I would have found more treasures than I could ever imagine. Scrolling there. By the time he finished, you were speechless. Your jaw almost dropped as many times before. He's expressed his feelings for you, but you never realized you meant this much to Hanzo. This was like italic, so I felt like it needed a bit of a look, like a this much. Your lips were parting a little. Quietly, you gaped for oxygen as you felt strangled by the desire surging through you. How would you do that? How would you part your lips a little and gasp for oxygen at the same time? Like, suddenly, I read that right. Oh, it's getting juicy. Suddenly, you could feel Hanzo's large palms slowly slide along your shoulders. They were moving apart the edges of your robe, ready to slide the fabric right off your body. You opened your eyes. Hanzo! Yes, no? Again? Okay. Probably some fanfiction thing I don't understand. Now your irises were shimmering with deep affection. Slowly you moved your shoulders in circles, just like this. Hanzo! The marksman's eyes were blessed with the sight of your robe, the only thing you had on, now pulled at your feet. Your breath paused. You stood there without a sound. It was really cold. You watched your lover's eyes closely as he viewed your naked body. It was really cold. His expressions didn't shift much, but after a few seconds you noticed his pupils dilating and his chest expanding heavily. Beautiful, he uttered beneath an heavy exhale. Butterflies were in your chest, your cheeks turned even brighter shade of pink. I could make a joke there, but it's very inappropriate, so I won't. Then you could feel your body temperature shoot up by what felt like thousands of degrees. Hanzo's hands moved and cupped along your jawline. Okay. Next thing you know, he was gently guiding your face forward. Oh, I see. His eyes were drooping dreamingly and head tilting slightly. Lips relaxed. Your eyes. You closed your eyes slowly, surrendering to the pull. Finally, your lips combined in a soft kiss. Your head started to feel numb from pleasure. You enjoyed how his soft, wet lips worked with yours in a perfect rhythm, and how his nose brushed alongside of yours. I thought it was going to say his nose bled alongside of yours. That's some anime shit there. How his facial hair lightly tickled your chin, and so many other things about it. Not only was he an excellent kisser, but he just tasted so damn good to begin with. To express your delight, you leaned deeper into the kiss while your hands snaked up from his chest to the back of his neck, then behind his head so you could smooth your fingers along his soft, jet black hair, currently worn in a ponytail, as usual. Them man buns, though. Hanzo immediately responded to your touch and intensified the kiss. At one point, he sneaked his tongue into your mouth and flickered it against yours. Surprised, you let out a small moan and flickered your tongue against return. It wasn't before. I'm gonna skip that paragraph. His hands made their way from your cheeks, gradually descending along your figure. He sweetly caressed your features all the way down until he reached your hips, where he stopped to fondle them deliciously before his gigantic arm slid around your waist and drew you in. He caressed your hips and he fondled them deliciously. How does that work? Due to the before his gigantic arm slid around your waist and drew you in. With a low grunt, he pressed up against you while his body was maintaining the kiss. Due to the strength of his warm embrace, you could vividly feel everything from him pressing against you. Everything is in italics, so let me reread that sentence. Due to the strength of his warm embrace, you could vividly feel everything on him pressing up against you. His smooth skin, strong pectorals, firm abs, and his... Oh my god. You continued to French him, but your eyes shot open. Your lower stomach was right up against his pants and was being poked by something bulging and quite stiff. How can people do this? This is so bad. Damn, was he really that turned on by you? With a faint, wet, sucking sound, Hanzo carefully pulled out the kiss. Even the aftermath of the kiss was appeasing. He left your lips glazed with moisture and spit, an assuring piece of proof that you were definitely not dreaming. I'm going to skip this paragraph a little bit. Okay, so there's maybe 7 or 8 paragraphs of them doing it. And I think this is where they finish. No, they're not finishing. I'll read this little section. Hanzo cradled one hand beneath your head. You kept observing his torso as it lifted up a little. You could see the other hand now slipping in the space between you two and nearing your... Holy fuck! It says that. Is this alright? His expression was stern as always, but his voice was cracking. Oh, sorry. Is this alright? You bit your lip. You weren't exactly sure how good he would be, but he had already made you feel so aroused. You were desperate for something down there. Okay.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I don't think the person who's writing this has ever, 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 ever made love in their life. I don't even think they know what it means. Because this shit is weird. Ah! What the fuck? There's something about an index finger there. Ooh. Something about a brain. But it's spelled Brian. So the sentence says, the occasional bleep here and there to explore the bleep. I'm bleeping the very descriptive words. The walls of your womanhood, experiencing what you felt like, getting a quick taste of where his member was about to go. Brian swirling, squirming around the bed slightly. That is a great typo. Let me tell you that. Let's go right to the bottom. Oh my god, it's long. Oh. There's where it finishes. Before falling asleep, Hanzo noticed you rubbing the area on the shoulder where he marked you earlier. His work was still there, now forming a visible black and blue mark upon you. He did nothing but softly smile and then place his hands upon yours, right at the top of that area. You didn't regret anything, and neither did he. It wasn't a lie. His aim was true. And tonight, Hanzo had just made his best mark ever. The end.